Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. So in between all these other projects, I still have a little bit of organization I need to do in the shop, and that is my router bit storage, which is still in the original tray from the original shop, and I haven't really landed them in a home here in this shop. So I was going to put them in the drawer in the planer cart, but I'm finding my planer cart is living more in another part of the shop, just out of the natural workflow. So I don't think that that's a good solution. So I'll show you a basic sketch up here, and this is kind of what we're gonna do. It's a basic cabinet. It's got a huge rabbet in the back because the whole thing is gonna live on 3/4 inch plywood. That case that you see there on the outside is more decoration than anything else, and I just happen to have some scrap walnut laying around that's going to work just great for that. So I didn't draw and sketch up any of the internals. That's kind of living in my head right now, and I think it's going to be somewhat dynamic based on what I have for router bit selection and what I want to get rid of and what I want to add. So 90% of what I do is on a 1/2 inch shank, especially at the router table, and that's what I want to live in this cabinet. All the smaller 1/4 inch shank stuff typically ends up in my little trim router, my little Bosch trim router, and I will probably dedicate another drawer somewhere else to those smaller 1/4 inch bits. So primarily this will be for 1/2 inch shank bits. Anyways, I'm going to get a little cleanup done in here and get the lumber out, and I will show you the lumber and we'll get going on this. Okay, so there's the very rough lumber. I had those 2 smaller pieces left over from the end tables, so obviously they had some defects and whatnot in them, so that's good use for shop furniture. And then I pulled one of the longboards from my stash there, and I'll get some usable pieces out of that as well. It's got quite a few defects in it, so again, just a good use for this. I'm gonna go ahead and get this rough milled, and yeah, we'll get going. Okay, so there's all the parts cut for the basic carcass, and I did mill up some extra stock, so if I screw up one of these sides, I have a board here to fix that. So let's start working on some joinery. Okay, certainly not perfect, but it's certainly good enough for shop furniture. Okay, so the plan's called for that lower divider, and when I did this on SketchUp, I just put it in a dado, but I think we're gonna do a sliding dovetail here. Got all these other dovetails, might as well make another one. That calls for it to be 2 1/4 up, and I think we're gonna boost that just a little, not a lot. And I'm just going to mark me a center line on here at 2 1/2. And really all I need is the center line, because that's where I'm going to run the sliding dovetail. And I'll run the sliding dovetail 3/8 deep, which would be half of my 3/4 sides. I'll set up the router table, cut these two, and then we'll start building that shelf that goes in there. So that's a pretty good dry fit. Next up, we're going to go ahead and rabbet for the back panel and trim that shelf up before we do another dry fit. Okay, I got batteries dying on the camera, so I'm going to go ahead and get this glued up. Get it clamped up, change the batteries in the camera, and I'll show you what it looks like on the other side. All right, so there's the glue up. The shelf is just slid in for now to help hold everything square, and it's dead on, so I'm happy with that. So we're just gonna let that cure up for a few hours, and we'll come back and trim up that shelf and start working on getting a back in it. Okay guys, we're going to call that a wrap for this video. Looks like I got snow to shovel, so we get going on this again. We'll put the back panel in it, start organizing the inside, and then start making a decision about whether or not it's going to have a door on it or not. I'm still not, haven't decided yet whether or not it's going to have a door on it. I don't really need one, so we'll see. Anyways, till next time guys, take care.